I need to buy some real estate. First of all, I want to have my own place when I come home during the summertime, and then also too for the long term. I know that you can make money off of this, and I didn't even think about the whole like renting and everything. The first thing I thought of was flipping, because you go watch the TV shows on HGTV and stuff like that, and they're always doing these flips in 30 days, and you're like, oh, this is incredible.
Right.
But for long term wealth, I kind of saw that buying and holding was kind of the way to go, because you're not really in need of the cash now, and it's paying down the mortgage, and just for the long term of everything.
And at the same time, you still a hooper. Like you're still a basketball player, right? So let me ask you this: like your portfolio has grown to a point where you're doing really well for yourself. Why would you want to go back overseas and do this again, knowing what we know? Why?
I love the game, man. I just
he keeps calling
I
me.
Definitely still some things that
the game keeps calling me. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Couch with Rob Fields. I'm your host, Rob Fields, and we have another special edition for you guys. We have a friend of the podcast on the show, and we have a friend of mine on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, give big hand claps to one of the illest post players I ever played with in my life. Evan Yates. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
What's up, my brother?
What's going on with you, man?
Oh man, nothing much, man. I'm just living life. I'm in transition, bro. So, I'm trying to figure out what this next stage in life looks like. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So listen, E, it's been a long time coming, man. You've really been a great supporter of the podcast. You at our podcast event over the summer. You flew all the way from Cincinnati to holler at your boy, and to be in the number. And you showed up and showed out for sure. We had a good time.
For sure.
But yeah, man, I appreciate you giving me a little bit of your time, man. It means a lot to me, bro. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
All right. So usually, when we get started, man, especially in the infancy stages of the podcast, I always like to start from the beginning. But I don't want to take up your whole day. So I'm gonna start here. So in the intro, I said that you wanted the just best post players I ever played with, and you're what most would consider undersized, but you give cats fits. I mean, fits. No matter if they're 7 feet, 6'5", it don't matter. You give people fits. Where did you learn that playing style?
Man, I think just watching a lot of NBA games when I was younger. Of course, I knew I wasn't going to be a guard. I wasn't going to play any point guard position, shooting guard position, small forward even. The big influence, I would say, for me was watching the Detroit Pistons. Those with the early 2000s years with Ben Wallace. He was holding it down in the paint. I saw that he was kind of an undersized big man, really making it happen. Good defender, and saw that he could play at the next level. And then later on, in the end of the 2000s with the Celtics, and I saw Glenn Davis was out there. He was making it happen. So I was like, man, if there's guys that are undersized that could really play at this level, then maybe I could. So that was really a lot of inspiration for me.
I get that comparison between you and Big Baby. You know whose game you also when I see you play and I saw you on the court, you made me think of Jason Maxiell.
Jason Maxiell, UC legend.
UC legend.
UC legend.
UC legend.
Yes.
So you didn't have a 42-inch vert like back then, but
definitely not.
In terms of power and just your ability to use your body to move guys and just be like a rock. But it's crazy. You are a rock in terms of like how you move and the power that you play with, but you got twinkle toes, bro. Like you move. Like,
that was Elijah Wan when I used to watch his highlights. Man, I used to love that the shimmy shake, the dream shake, the quick baseline spins, going to the middle, the shot fakes. Always the shot fakes. Man, guys would bite on those all the time, and I always was like, I'm always playing against taller guys, so I would think like, hey, I gotta get this shot up quick. So whatever I could do to get the shot up quick, I would use the basket as a kind of defense against the shot blockers, and I was able to make it happen that way.
yeah, our first season playing together in Spain, I think probably for the first 15 games or so, you averaged like 12 free throws a game. Like they
Yeah.
just dudes bouncing off of your body, bro. Like they have no answer for you. So
Just
before we
foul.
go to our time in Spain together, I'm gonna take a step back. Like
Mm-hmm.
were you always underrated in throughout your journey? Because I feel like even up to now, like people don't really give you the credit for what you're really doing on the
Mm-hmm.
basketball court. Was it always that way for you?
Yeah, man. I was definitely a late bloomer. Going through high school, I only played 1 year of varsity, and that was my senior year. I was always just kind of behind the curve of everybody. There was always more talent that came to the school, and I feel like I worked hard. That's one thing that I've always just like. That's what I based everything in basketball on is hard work. And even with working hard, I was still not getting my just dues, I would say. And then finally, as a senior, I was able to play varsity, and I got 1 year of varsity, and I was able to take advantage. So definitely just really underrated. But I think a lot of guys respected my game though because they saw that I worked hard. So a lot of guys, I think they respected me.
All right, so you got that 1 year on varsity and you killed it. You got an op. You of course you went to college.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a lot of options coming out of college, or was it just Ashland? What was it?
Um, Never got any options. I think I had two Division III schools come to see me my senior year. That was Wilmington College. That's where my father played. He's a big inspiration for me as well. Huge inspiration.
What's up, pops?
And then, yeah, shout out Pops.
Yeah.
And then Thomas More College. It's a Division III in the northern part of Kentucky. And fun fact about that, no offers coming out. But this coach had saw me my last year of AAU. So that's what your junior year going into your senior year is the last year of AAU,
Yep.
I believe.
Yep.
And he had saw me. He's pretty interested. And then he saw that I was going to the school. He saw me play there. He brought me on campus at this Division III school. And I'm like, it's cool. But coach, I can't afford this school. It's a little bit pricey. You know how in America, the colleges are really expensive, and it was a private school on
Pay to
top of that.
play.
Pay to play. And in Division III, they don't give scholarships. So I was like, Coach, I really like it. I don't think I can afford it. And then so I didn't sign with anybody. I was just kind of going through the motion. And then close to my senior year graduation, that same coach from that Division III school, Thomas More, called me and said, hey, I think I'm getting this head coaching job at this Division II school. I would love for you to come up there and play if I do.
What?
So
That's
he got the head coaching
clutch.
job. It was a
Oh,
domino effect. He got the head coaching job, and then he signed me to come up there and play. And I played the whole 4 years at school there, and it was a good experience. So
man,
yeah,
that's a pretty dope story right there, man.
yeah, very very lucky, very lucky.
So this was all meant to be, player. Like, it
I'm thinking so.
was
Very big domino effect.
it was written.
Very big
It was
domino
written.
effect.
So
Yes.
so you were an All American in college, correct?
Hmm.
When did it click for you? During
Okay,
during your
so
run, like was it from the get go, or did you have to figure it
I,
out?
absolutely not. I mean, it was last minute. When I got there, so first I signed there. I was excited. It was Division II school. I got a scholarship to play basketball, so I didn't have to pay for college, which is for your European listeners, that's a huge thing. Not having to take on any college debt, and so I went there. once again, it started off rough. I wasn't in a rotation. It was the first game I didn't play at all. Second game, I wasn't playing. We were getting blown out by NAIA school. The coach was like, "Well, you can just go ahead and play. Let's see what you can do." Showed out. I had in about 10 minutes, about 13 points and 7 rebounds in 10 minutes, and he was like, "I was one game away from red shirting you." So after that, I know it's crazy. After that, I was able to play. So I played my freshman year. Had a pretty solid freshman year, and then my sophomore year, about halfway through the sophomore year, I really picked it up and had it really going. And then my junior year is when I just blew up, and that's when I was able to earn the All-American awards. And then my senior year was a great year, and we just finished out. And then I was like, man, I think getting close to the end of graduation, once again, everything seems like it happened close to graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't know if I really want to go into the corporate world just yet. And I said, well, let's see what we can do with basketball, because my father, he had played overseas for a few years. He played in both France and Germany. And so I was like, well, let me see what this route kind of looks like. And then from there, I just kind of wanted to bet on myself. So
I didn't even know that about your pops, man. I didn't even know he.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like when you see the pops, it's like either he played a mean power forward or he was a mean tight end in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Yeah, he's a big guy,
okay.
man.
All
big
right.
guy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean,
So,
it's I mean that portion of your story. I mean, I don't even think we ever discussed it. We never really
mhm.
talked about how right, and sometimes that's
Right.
important. So, man, you were like one signing, like coach. If he would have gotten an extension at the D3, maybe you wouldn't have played for him. One game away from
Yeah,
being red shirted, like all of this other stuff. You know what I mean?
a
So it's
lot of dominoes.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's pretty wild. But you made the best of it. That's the result of it. You made the best of it. You became an All American. So
Yeah.
now your college coach is looking like a genius. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fun fact, I was there for the first win, and then just last night he tied for most wins in program history. So he's on his way to passing that for the next game, I hope. So I was glad to be a part of that journey.
Go ahead, coach. Shout out. Shout out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
for
He
sure.
definitely has to send you a 1,000 win T-shirt.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. So for us, we met
Mhm.
uh, for the first time in Spain, and
Mhm.
you, I mean, of course, we really good friends now, and we it took time. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So for the
Mhm.
first 2 or so months, 2.5 months, I mean, we really didn't even talk in the house, and we lived in the same crib.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was I was put in a very awkward position. So I used to
Yes.
close the door, and where I was sleeping, you would close your door, and it was just practice and back, just try to figure it out. But the
Mhm.
reason why, you know, the friendship that we did develop was important was because that was a transitional year for me as well. I lost
Mhm.
my mom in March of that year.
Yeah,
So
I remember you
that
telling
Spain
me about it.
situation it was kind of it was kind of like a mental trip for me. So of course
Mhm.
basketball was at the forefront. I wanted to do really well. I wanted to win a championship. I wanted to work hard. I mean, all of that stuff. But it was really like a transitional period for me because I was trying to figure out like, okay, what am I going to be? And at a
Mhm.
certain point in that summer prior to me coming to Spain to the team, it was just like, do I even want to play? So yeah, for those first
Mhm.
2.5 months, man, we was just hooping. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what was that like for you being in Spain? Because that was your first season, right?
Mhm. Right. So for me, before coming to Spain, I had knew a few people who had played overseas, and I'm pretty sure you've heard the same thing with older guys when they say it's a dog eat dog world out there, and you got to always
Mm-hmm.
focus on getting yours because you're always working towards the next contract.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was just like they were like, you really shouldn't have any friends on the team. You can be cool with guys, but don't really focus on being friends because at the end of the day, you're trying to get your next contract. You're not really worried about the next guy. And just with my personality alone, I'm like, okay, maybe I should try to do that. Maybe I should really focus on that. But then I thought, like, well, that ain't really the right way to do things. I mean, it's just a few of us out here in Spain. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
Americans, it's not many of us, and we're all trying to navigate around and trying to find our way. And at the lower level that we were, it was really just kind of us against the world. I would guess you can kind of say.
Yeah.
So
I would
I
agree with
felt
that.
like
Yeah.
it's really important to like really be close with your friends. I mean, your teammates, especially the American teammates. Like it's good to be friends with everybody on the team, of course, but with your American teammates, it's like you guys are getting through this struggle together, trying to build up. And I think like going forward, I think that's a great thing to have and to try to do to help each other out. Because I mean, if you're handling business, you're taking care of everything, you're being a good teammate, you know, you're playing well on the court. I think everything will be, it will take care of itself. You're good for the club. You have no bad, reviews from anybody in the club. I think that, going forward, it's just a good thing to help each other out, and you can kind of give guidance and help the next guy, and then everybody can go further.
Yeah. I mean, that like I said, that period was it was difficult for me, but as soon as we really started to link, then that was it. And I
Hmm.
think our actual friendship started to build through working out because we found out that the gym
Yeah.
was supposed to be open up early on Tuesdays or something. So we would take that 30-minute walk and just go get shots
Man.
up or take that 30-minute walk and go lift weights. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it started there because that was common ground. And I mean, it's not like it, I mean, I don't think for either one of us it's hard to kind of break the shell. I don't really think it's
Right.
that. But I just think both of us were in this mindset. With it being your first year, like, all right, how do I approach this? And then for me,
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm going through all of these changes. But yeah, once we linked up and connected, it was special, man. The
For
thing
sure.
that I say about that year is I wish that it would have ended better because we had I mean, we were killing it. Once we got rolling,
We had a lot of potential.
yeah, once we
Yeah.
got rolling, it was good. Of course, I got injured that year, but when I came back, my head was on fire, and of course, it didn't end the way
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
that I
A little bit
expected.
rough ending
It
for
was rough.
sure, but
It was rough,
yeah.
but I mean, I really appreciate just the energy that you gave me that year, man, and you just kind of being who you are. And from there, I was like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, this my dog. And then next thing you know, you end
For
up in
sure.
Denmark, which is crazy.
Man, that was year
What's
3, yeah, and
Yeah,
close to Copenhagen. It wasn't like I was in other parts of the country. I was about what, maybe a 20-25 minute train ride from
25
Copenhagen.
minute, man. And had I been
Yeah,
had I been living here at the time that you played, I mean, you would have been playing where I'm actually living now.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
crazy.
Which is crazy. So small world, man, and yeah, those experiences. Yeah, like we had the finish to the Spain experience. Always kept in touch after that. And then when I found out I was playing in Denmark, and you told me you were living in Denmark and playing there, and I was like, oh, I got to hit my dog up. I was like, I got to link with Rob. Like he knows all the spots out there. Like
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere where I actually know somebody who actually lives in the country, can show me where to go, what's the good places to go out and hang out, good places to eat. Um, I was like, yeah, it's a no brainer. I had to jump on that.
Yeah. That's an easy call. Easy,
For
easy,
sure.
easy. But let me ask you this, E. So, just talking a
Mhm.
little bit about, some of the times overseas. First of all, you've been around. So what's your favorite country thus far? Because you bounced around a little. You've had some experiences. What's your favorite?
Mm, Probably say Spain, man. Spain is like home. I played 5 total years there. Really comfortable. I love the city of Madrid. It's it's my favorite city. Probably my favorite city that I've been to.
Yeah.
But every place has been good, man. I enjoyed my time in Denmark when just playing there. I love being close to Copenhagen. It's a big international city. They have good food there. Had a lot of good experiences. It was really the first time in my life that I've really kind of grown a liking for beer, I would say, was when I
The
played in
capital,
Denmark.
one of the capitals of the world.
Exactly. So, but every place has been really good. But I would probably say Spain. Just I'm so used to being there and extremely, extremely comfortable being there. So, Madrid is, even though I've never played in Madrid, I've always been able to get to Madrid, and I've just always loved that city.
I mean, you were the one who put me on Madrid that first year. And I remember going to Madrid and you were like, yo, this is this hostel, man. There's a rooftop,
Yeah.
this and that, and it's like
Yeah.
38 € a night. I said, that sounds like Roach Motel prices, bro. Like, what are you talking about? A
Exactly.
hostel. And you know, for Americans, man, we think
Awesome.
of hostels as like the movie. Like
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say exactly that.
we
Exactly.
we think of it like the movie, and it's nothing like that, dude. We went to the
Some of them
hostel.
are really nice. I mean, you get your own private room, bathroom, and
Man,
shower. Like some of them, I gotta admit, I've stayed in quite a few. I like, that I like to bounce around and travel after the season
you're a
is done.
traveler.
So
Yes, yes.
I, in those earlier days, for sure, just trying to make it work. I was definitely staying in some hostels, man, and every experience that I've had has been really good. I've not had any funny, weird, strange encounters with anybody. It's always been like a really good situation for
So
me.
you never been in a room where the eyes on the pictures are following you around the
Look,
room, you know. All
I'm gonna
that.
be honest. I don't even do scary movies, but yeah, I put an extra. I put something in front of the door just in case,
Ah,
because
yeah.
I gotta always be, prepared or something. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta stay aware.
Yeah,
But nah, yeah,
Madrid was
I can't
nice.
do. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So I think Madrid. Yeah, and I mean, I got to spend some time in Tokyo, which is pretty neat. Copenhagen,
Is
like
it
I
as
said,
wild as everyone makes it out to be?
it's so clean. Oh man, it's so clean. I mean, it's like I mean, it's everything's so orderly. Everybody's like kind of by the book with everything, and like, there's nobody. For example, you take the train. There's no people like rushing to get on, people rushing to get off. I mean, people are standing in line for it. I mean, everything from just like the way you go to a restaurant and they give you the warm cloth for your hand, to kind of
Yeah,
sanitize your hands and stuff like
yeah.
that. And it's like very traditional culture out there. I really enjoyed when I was living in. I wasn't living in Tokyo when I was living in Japan, and I got to play there. That was a really nice experience. And yeah, man, all the places I've played have been pretty good. There was a lot to do in each place, so a lot of different cultures.
You you've been around, right? And you paid your
Hmm.
dues. You've I mean, you worked your way up in Spain from the lowest level to pretty. I mean, it's a very high level.
Hmm.
France. I mean, you've been around. You paid your dues and gotten to a place where you're earning a nice salary as a player. Do you feel like you get your just due? Do you feel like you're respected enough? Because I mean, you still in it. That's why usually the
Yeah,
guys that I talk to, they've already been in and out, but you still in the mix. So do you feel like you get the respect that you deserve?
I feel like now I do. I definitely did build up, man. We started really low,
Yeah.
really low, and then it took me to my seventh year actually to get to playing at a top level. Well, I got to play Champions League that year, but the year before I got to finish out in the top division in Israel.
Yep.
So those two back-to-back experiences were like, I felt like those were like the peak. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, man, I finally got here. Like, I was playing top division. I played well in Israel to finish out that season. And then I got the chance to play in Champions League in Europe, which is maybe the third best competition,
Yeah.
second or third behind Euro League and Euro
Yeah.
Cup, or tied with Euro Cup. So just getting those experiences, man, I think I did gain a lot of respect. Everybody that I've played with has been like, man, we kind of had our doubts at first, but like, you like a dog on the court. So I feel like from the opponents to my teammates, I feel like I have gained a level of respect from a lot of people, and I just kind of want to keep it going. It's always how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I wanted to start strong by doing it that way, playing hard, gaining everybody's respect, and I definitely want to finish out by doing it that way, playing hard and gaining more, keeping the respect, gaining more respect from every place that I play.
Yeah.
So that's always been a big focus for me.
I follow, and I want to retouch on that a little bit later. So this is where we're going with the conversation. Right now, you're a free agent, so you're waiting for some opportunities to kind of pop off for you. And I mean, those who have done it understand it. All right, there's this period where we're just waiting to hear from our agent. We're waiting to hear from a team, a rep, something. We're just waiting. Explain to the people who have no idea what this time period is. Explain the dark hours. It just kind of let people know what this means for us as overseas basketball players.
It is the hardest thing I will say about playing basketball overseas. I mean, it's tough. Normally, guys who play college, or even with high school basketball, when the season is starting. You're going to be on the team. You know what the practice schedule is going to be like, what the game schedule is going to be like. You even know when the season is going to finish. But with overseas basketball, you never know. You never know. You could have one season where you're on fire, you play really well, and then the next season, there might not be any calls. And you might not even play a season, or there could be a season where you go late, which is something that I've dealt with the past few years myself, where I don't start the season with the team. I will typically go after Christmas, around the beginning of New Year, sometimes even end of January, where I'll go to a team that needs a player. They want a veteran with experience to kind of help teams get to the playoffs, push to the playoffs, or sometimes even just to stay in the league. So sometimes when you become a vet, and, sometimes situations where there could be new coaches in the league, they might not know you because they're coming from somewhere else, and they can they can say, well, we don't think this guy is good enough, or we don't know who this guy is. We saw this guy play before. We want this guy. You have to deal with that. You have to deal with sometimes leagues change the rules on how many Americans they can have. I've dealt with everything, man. So the process is tough. You get home and you finish the season, for example, around May or June, and then you're working out. You spend the first couple of months, you're feeling good, you're working out, you're partying with your friends, you're going to nice dinners. Then I would say around August, you're starting to say, hey, what's going on? That's usually when teams start preseason at the end of August. And then September comes and you're like, man, the season's right around the corner. Teams are starting. And then September comes around and you're like, well, the season has started. I'm not with any team. And then from there, you're just like, when am I going to get the call? Am I going to call my agent? How many updates is he going to give me? What's our situation? Where could we possibly even go this year? I mean, there's so many different things that's kind of running through your head. And I tell the guys all the time, like, if you've never experienced it, you don't know. But if you do get to that point where you do experience that, and it can be a lot of stress at first, but I think in that time you have to continue to work out. Most important thing. This is your job now. So you have to, you have to treat this as your job. So you do have to continue to work out. You have to try to find different avenues to kind of take your mind off of it. Spend time around family and see your friends still and still kind of enjoy things while you're at home. And just at that moment's notice, you got to kind of be ready for that call. And then when you do get there, it's like it's go time. I mean, there's no preseason. There's no, easing into things. You got to go as soon as you get there. Sometimes guys have even played right off of getting off the plane.
Right off the plane,
so,
yeah. And having to drop 30.
Sometimes it's crazy. Drop 30 after a 20-hour flight. So it's crazy. So you have to always kind of be ready, be prepared, and really you got to get your mentals right. You got to get your body right, and you got to be disciplined, man. Those are the major things I would say, man. You always have to be disciplined and really take care of yourself and be ready.
Imagine if you took that 20-hour flight, and you had to get off the plane. I mean, fresh off the plane. You eating airplane food and you going straight to the arena and you have to drop 30. And if you drop
And you have to drop.
19, the fans are booing you.
That's
Imagine, like, I
crazy.
can't
Yeah, I
even.
know.
And I've heard these stories before.
It's tough, man.
I've heard these stories
It's
before, dude,
definitely
and
tough.
it blows my mind. Like, yo, I'm like I'm literally wearing the clothes from 24 hours ago. It's crazy.
Rough,
Yeah.
rough. And a lot of things a lot of people don't talk about with overseas. I mean, there's so many things that you have to be as a player. You have to be a good player, first off. You have to be a good player. You have to play well. You have to be a great teammate. You have to be a good person off the court, which is things that you would think were natural, but sometimes when people go to different cultures and sometimes some things don't click, then it's just tough. You know what I mean? So you have to juggle a lot. There's a lot of pressure to win. You have to win. Um, you can go out there and get your 30 with your personal stats, but if your team is losing, you might be the first person on the shot block. So it's a ton of pressure for a lot of guys, man. And I think just going back to being disciplined, you control what you can control. Try to buy into the system, be a good teammate, play well, try to get your wins. And I think those kind of things, if you focus on those things, everything will take care of itself. I mean, I think you'll be in a situation that'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I remember those times, man, and I wanted to ask you because a lot of people don't realize it, and like you explained it perfectly. You go home because you have, you got a little reserve of cash, so you hanging out, you
Exactly.
having a good time, everything is great, and then as soon as
Hmm.
July 31st gets there, you like,
You're like, oh,
ugh, you know.
did they send you anything or
You start the dinner
what's the next
start to
move?
cut down a little bit. Now you eat Taco Bell. You're not eating Ruth's
Yeah.
Chris. You know what I mean?
Like, let me get my diet right, home cooked
Yeah,
meals. Let me get on that track a little bit more, run.
yeah.
Where's the open
A little
gym
bit more
at?
water.
It's like, yeah,
Less
a little bit more
carbs.
water.
A little bit more fruit, more ramen, depending on what that pay was looking like the season before. Yeah,
Exactly.
working basketball camps. Just all of this crazy stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a different lifestyle,
Mhm.
and if you're not built for it, you're not gonna last. I've seen a lot of really good basketball players not be able to do it, and I get it. Like you have to be a little bit crazy
Yeah.
to be willing to go from country to country to sometimes get paid late. Sometimes have teams, have you playing for 6 months and they don't pay you. Now you got to sue the team and go through all of these processes.
Mhm.
It's it is different, and if
It's
you're
very
not ready
different.
for it,
Yeah.
this might not be the thing for you, and it's okay. It is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of being like an entrepreneur, at times where, yeah, you send some invoices and then you don't get paid from them, or somebody tries to run off with your money, or you get the payment really, 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 really late. So I would say it's along those same lines, man. It's eat what you kill in this business.
Yep.
So sometimes, like you say, a lot of guys, it's a little bit tough for them because they're not used to being in a situation like this. And
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
different.
speaking about this off season stuff, you've smartened up. You've really done some really cool
Yeah.
stuff away from the court, and a lot of players
Hmm.
don't even think about this stuff in that dark period, in those dark hours, which I kind of
Hmm.
termed. Like people just don't understand it. Talk a little bit about the importance of building a portfolio outside of the game of basketball.
Yeah. Well, first, I want to go back. I can't remember what podcast I heard this on. It was a pro athlete. He said the day you sign your first contract is the beginning of the end, which is kind of crazy to hear. But
Yeah, yeah,
when you really think about it, um, this is the last, bit of basketball that we will play. Father Time is undefeated. You know that no matter who you are, MJ, Kobe, LeBron, Magic, that one day the game is going to stop. You're not going to be able to play basketball at any type of level. Forget professional level, just any
Mm-hmm.
level. So I thought it was always kind of important to have like something else going on. I mean, because unless you're a Euro League or an NBA guy, most guys will typically have to work after they're done. Plus, you would want to work. I mean, if you finish playing basketball at 35 or
Still young.
36, that's a lot of years to live without having, without
Yep.
working. So I would say that kind of clicked for me, man, around, I would say, the end of year 6 and during my 7th year overseas, definitely late to the game. Those first few years, you just like trying to make it.
Surviving.
And
Yep.
then after those years, you kind of like build up a little bit and you're like, okay, well, what's next? What's next? And one thing, with my parents, is just always hardworking people, man. Just always make sure everything was taken care of around the house. And that's kind of like my style. I've always wanted to have like, I've always been big on building my own moat around myself.
Yep.
So like, like one day I know basketball is going to end, but I need something to be able to fall back on where I'm not pressured into like, I don't know if I have to get this job immediately right after playing, or I have to try to figure something out. I need to be able to give myself a chance to kind of figure it out after I'm
Mm-hmm.
done. And that's kind of what's led me into what I do now with real estate and stuff like that. So I needed to have something to fall back on. I always knew I needed my housing taken care of, and with my car, food and stuff like that. The basic things I needed those be kind of set for me, like when I'm done hooping. And so I think I've done pretty good, kind of building a good moat. And I think that just falling, having something to fall back on, and just going forward and thinking like, hey, I feel great. Body feels great. I feel great now. So, but I know one day it's going to end. So I just want to be able to put myself in positions where I have something to do, or I can do something after I'm done playing,
Did
and I have
right?
choices.
Was there someone who showed you the ropes on how to maneuver into these real estate, for example, or uh, anything else that you done? Was there one person or a couple people who said, "Oh, Evan, I hear you're interested in owning some properties. Here's how you do it," or did you do the
Mhm.
research on your own?
I did the research on my own, man. A lot of people don't know. Well, yeah, a lot of people wouldn't know that we have a ton of downtime overseas. I mean, you might practice 2 times a day. Let's see, you maybe practice at 9 or 10 in the morning. Maybe you'll come back and practice at 3, 4 in the afternoon. So there's a lot of time in the day to, do a lot of different things. And I always encourage guys to definitely get some reading done, whether it's audio books, physical books, something. You can learn something. So for me, I didn't know anybody that owned real estate. Not that I can think of. Nobody ever came out and said, "Yeah, I own 4 or 5 buildings" or anything. I kind of just did research for myself. I just kind of wanted to see what is a good avenue for, long term wealth, I guess. And it looked like everybody, had real estate. A piece of
Yeah,
real
yeah.
estate was in their portfolio. So I said, well, I'm living in Cincinnati. It's not New York City. It's not Los Angeles. It's not Miami. So, it's more on the affordable side. So I said, maybe I could try to shift and buy some real estate, because also too, I was tired of staying at my parents' place during the
so,
summertime. So I was
so
like,
your first
I
property
need a
was
place.
yours.
Yeah, the first property was mine. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I was like, I need to buy some real estate. First of all, I want to have my own place when I come home during the summertime, and then also too for the long term. I know that you can make money off of this, and I didn't even think about the whole like renting and everything. The first thing I thought of was flipping, because you go watch the TV shows on
Hmm.
HGTV
Hmm.
and stuff like that, and they're always doing these flips in 30 days, and you're like, oh, this is
Right,
incredible.
right.
But for long term wealth, I kind of saw that buying and holding was kind of the way to go, because you're not really in need of the cash now, and it's paying down the mortgage, and just for the long term of everything.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really interesting to hear you say that, man, because you were self-made in that regard. So I'm sure there's a ton of learning on your part, but you're still like in it. There's no one steering the ship for you. Like you are basically the
Right.
ship essentially. And at the same
Yeah.
time, you still a hooper. Like you're still
It's
a
been something.
basketball player, right? So let me ask you this: like
Yeah.
your portfolio has grown to a point where you're doing really well for yourself. Why would you want to go back overseas and do this again, knowing what we know? Why?
I love the game, man. I just
He keeps calling
I
me,
definitely
D.
still some things that
The game keeps calling me.
it just yeah, facts. No, like I definitely there's some things that I definitely want to do, man. I definitely want to get another championship. Um and I like the grind of it. I love the grind. Like I love the waking up and going to practice 2 times a day. It sounds crazy, but I love to do that. I like the camaraderie with the teammates. I like the, going to different places. I love food in all these different countries. So that's a really
so
big
so you
plus. And I
gotta
do
so
like to
you
live
have
in
to keep
different.
working out.
I got to keep working
Might
out,
as well
man. I
hoop.
got to, man. I look, hoop is. I got to find something to do after hoop. So for sure. But yeah, Lynn, I like these. I like these new experiences, man. They've been good, and I'm in love with the game. So I know one day, of course, like I said, one day it will end. But I just definitely want to take advantage while I, still have some gas in the tank and enjoy these moments playing overseas. Like I said, I love having the good teammates and having the new experiences and definitely fighting for a championship, another championship. I want to try to get some more, man. So those are the things that I kind of focus on going overseas and I kind of just let it take it from there. Now I'm in a point now, like you said, with some things that I have as far as business where I'm not really kind of stressing too much. Things will be what they are, but I definitely would prefer to be overseas, though, for sure.
Yeah, and the thing is, I know some people, some older folks that I've spoken with, and they have some regrets in their lives. Maybe I stopped this a little
Hmm.
bit too early.
Hmm.
Maybe I did this a little bit too early. And I mean, you don't want to have to live with that, especially when you have gas in the tank. For me, I was spent. Like I gave the game, I think I got all that I could have gotten from basketball as a player. You know,
Hmm.
maybe doing
Right.
training or something, I can, find some other avenues to be able to max that out. But
Hmm.
in terms of me actually playing the game, I did everything that I could possibly have done. With
Hmm.
mistakes along the way, maybe I should have took an opportunity here, there, whatever. But I don't lose sleep at night knowing that I'm not going to the gym 3 times a day. But
Right.
I think that's the goal for all of us to be able to step
Yeah.
away from it and say, all right, now I'm cool with
Mhm.
playing whenever I want. I
Right.
think that's a good thing. So I'm happy that I have that feeling in my gut because had I not had that,
Hmm.
I don't know if I would have been at peace with the fact that I'm not playing full time anymore. So you're doing it the right way,
Right.
man. You're doing it the right way, and I definitely understand it.
Yeah.
And again,
Definitely, you and also too a blessing, finishing healthy. You
yeah,
don't want to be the guy who's just out there injured the whole time, just trying to make it happen. And nobody ever wants to get to that point. You want to finish strong, and you definitely want to finish like on your own terms. So I think definitely you've been able to do that. Like it's definitely motivating for me to see that, man. It's beautiful, and I salute you for that. That's definitely a good thing, man, for
yeah.
sure.
I'm happy to be honest with you, man. I'm happy that I can even say that I had a career to even speak on in this way because I
Yeah,
don't,
for sure.
even coming out of high school, I didn't know what college was going to look like for me. I knew how to play the game and how to get better, but that doesn't always translate to a successful basketball career. And to be
Exactly.
able to say that I played
Hmm.
12 years after college, that's even crazier.
Super blessing, man.
Mm,
It's a lot to be thankful for sure.
yeah. So I don't take
A
those
lot to
playing
be
years for
thankful.
granted for sure. Whether I was playing on a high level or not, like I was able to make a living to some degree off of what I was doing,
Hmm.
and I'm cool, dude. Like I'm cool. So yeah, dude, keep
That's
going. Like for me, do your thing, bro.
Sure.
Keep fighting for that opportunity to be on that stage because it's different once you're not
Mhm.
on the stage anymore. You know, you start podcasting and stuff like that. It's crazy, bro.
No, for sure, man. Absolutely. It's yeah, it's definitely, you know, the the thrill of being kind of in the hunt of another, another season, and I definitely, like you said, man, just keep going until you kind of, are ready to step away and you're at peace with it.
Yeah. What would so we a lot of times we don't get this advice from the OGs unless you are in those workout
Hmm.
groups, unless you're,
Hmm.
on these teams with vets, which you don't get vets all the time on some of these teams.
True. Hmm.
Maybe you do get a vet, but the vet doesn't really give you any game. He's there to get a check and
Hmm.
bounce. So if
Right.
if there's a young professional basketball player watching this episode, what advice would you be able to lend them to say it's tough, but you'll figure it out? Do you have anything to offer?
Man, biggest thing I can say is, man, just focus on those few things of being a good player, being a good teammate, try to win as much as you can, uh, and be ready to be adaptable. I think that's really one of the biggest things of playing overseas because you're living in a whole different country. It's a lot of different people around you. You have to be able to be adaptable, and I think you'll have your ups, you'll have your downs, but that's probably the best thing that you can do. And being adaptable like that, man, you'll fit into a lot of places. You'll get a lot of connections. You'll meet a lot of new people, make a lot of new friends. And I think those friends will be able to put you in positions where they can get you the next opportunity playing somewhere. So that's my advice, man, for a lot of guys. Be adaptable and put the video games down. Come on, man. All my young guys out there, I know y'all hear me. Biggest thing, get you some audio books. You can get library books for free on your phone. Get you an audio book, man, when you're driving to practice, walking to practice, man. Get you some reading in, man. Get some real estate books or just something different, money management books or something, and work towards something. You can, there's different things, different avenues you can work towards, and I think you can kind of set yourself up for the future by learning something new. You're gone for anywhere from 7 to 9 months out of the year. You can learn a lot of things in those times. So you just got to be disciplined and set a schedule. And you can still play your video games. You can still play your video games, but get some reading in, man. Get some studying
Yeah,
in.
you probably practicing 6 hours of the day. So you still have time to get
That's it.
7.5 hours of sleep. And then you still have, a ton of time, almost 10 hours to, you know, figure out life.
Exactly. You can play your video games, but you gotta get some kind of studying in, man. We gotta set some standards here, some discipline. We're going back to discipline. The same way you work out, same way you need to apply it to everything
And I
else.
remember in Spain, you were kicking off the Rosetta Stone, bro. Like you were learning Spanish,
Look, trying to
all that.
learn, and now, now I speak Spanish. So it took me a while.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
took me a while for sure, but now I do speak Spanish. It's been good, man. I definitely am thankful. Yeah, that was a long time ago. That was when they had the CDs
Still
still.
had the CDs, bro.
So
And you didn't even have
CDs.
you weren't even on a Rosetta Stone salary at that time. So that was an investment. That was your
Ah,
first investment.
I was, yeah, that was a bit of a struggle. I made it work though.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we
Money
made it happen.
management.
Money management for
Yeah.
sure. So I think just always trying to learn something new, man. I think that's a very big key for a lot of guys, man. I think going forward, you know, you need to try to learn something. Learning doesn't stop. You just don't want to kind of be out there. I mean, yeah, you can learn all the sets, watch NBA games, watch film, but you need to learn something though, for sure.
There you go.
For sure. Add some skills to your resume for when you're done
There you
hooping.
go. There you go. So E, this is the last question I'm going to ask you before we start
Mhm.
start to wrap up, man. Um, I was talking to a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, who's in the sports and entertainment business, on the marketing side of things, and we play basketball together as well. And I asked him, what's the difference between a professional basketball player and a basketball player who does exceptionally well at playing basketball? So what's the difference between a pro and just someone who's really good at sports? Because there is a difference.
Uh,
Because the pros
yeah.
stay around. The ones who are just
Hmm.
really good, 6, 7 years,
Yeah.
poof, they're out of there. So what do you think is the difference
Hoopers.
between the two?
Real hoopers. Yeah. I would say two things: discipline and adaptability. I've always just kind of based everything on those two things. I mean, a hooper is we know a lot of guys with a lot of game, but in a lot of places they don't fit. They can't adapt. I've seen guys who've been 20 plus point scorers at the Division I level get overseas and just forget how to play basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't adapt to the game. They don't try to adapt. And then once things kind of go a little bit bad for them and nothing's clicking, and maybe they're not the man when they get to that new team. Maybe they got to kind of play like an off role. That guys don't continue the same path that they've been on. They don't stay disciplined. They might not work out as much. They might not eat as healthy as before. They might not watch as much film.
Get caught in them
And I
streets
think
over here in
when that
Europe,
happens,
which is
yeah,
easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Running the streets. Yeah, it's like, the saying, when it rains, it pours. And once one thing kind of is just going bad, then it kind of, just continues to go. That's why I think just being disciplined. Yeah, you having bad moments. Maybe you play 2 or 3 games that are really bad, but you continue the way of watching the film. You go to the gym and get the extra shots up. You go get your extra lifts in, and you kind of learn to be adaptable. Adaptable. You adapt to the style of play of that country. You know, for example, playing in Spain is completely different from playing in France. I learned that when I went to France. It's extremely physical league, and I was not, it's more physical than playing in the States than in college. So
Yep.
I kind of had to get used to that compared to playing in Spain, where you put one hand on somebody, it's an automatic foul. Spanish folks, when it comes to basketball, are very good with the flopping, I would say. So you kind of got to be able to, adapt to each style. So I think adapt and being adaptable and having a high level of discipline will, those are the things that separates a pro from just like a hooper.
All right. Yeah. So it's a difference, man. I hear a lot of the veteran
It is a
pros
huge difference.
nowadays, and I won't say their names or whatever, but you hear a lot of guys saying, "Oh, they did this to me," or "They did that to me," and then at the same
Hmm.
time, you start to hear some accounts of how they were moving around in the streets, right? So they were playing
Hmm.
really well,
Yeah.
30s and 40s, and averaging 26, 27 in the league, and all of this kind of crazy stuff, right? And then all of a sudden,
Hmm.
nobody wants to hire them. So you start to think like, man,
Hmm.
how is this? Who did they screw over to get,
Yeah.
this kind of treatment?
There had to be something that happened.
Had to be something,
Something.
right? But then you talk to some people who were kind of around the situation, and you hear like, oh, yeah, he wasn't very pleasant to be around, or
Hmm.
he came late, or he had wild dudes around the team, going crazy, or I don't know, he
Hmm.
smashed somebody's wife. Anything, bro. Like it was just unprofessionalism at the top. And then when they get in year 8
Yes.
on the decline, they're like,
Hmm.
oh man, they
Hmm.
doing me wrong. I need a chance. I don't know, man. It's just
Yeah, I think a lot of guys focus on the wrong things when they get overseas. Look, everybody had that moment where they were partying, having a good time,
yeah.
but at the same time, you do have to maintain your professionalism. You gotta make sure you're on top of business, man. You're getting to the gym early. That, like you said, that stuff carries over, man. That stuff carries over. Yeah, like you said, in the first 5, 6 years, you might be the man. Where teams would be like, he's so good that he
And
can
I
get
call
away
that the
with that.
value
That he's
proposition
that good.
because your value,
Hmm.
yeah, basically just takes complete control over the whole situation. So you're so valuable that your shortcomings or all of the crazy stuff that you're doing is just like, all right, we just need to throw some water on this flame. Then it
Yeah.
gets then it gets to the point where it's like, nah, we gotta get this dude up out of here. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
No, it's tough experience for guys, man. And I hate to hear that it happens to a lot of guys, but every season it continues to happen to
It'll
guys.
never
So
stop.
I think, yeah, those things, man, discipline and adaptability. Be a good, be a good person. Just being a good person to take you really far in life. Not even just basketball, but just
There
life.
you go. There you go. So listen, man, we at the back end of the episode, bro. We at the back end, man. This has been a really good conversation. I always enjoy,
For sure.
talking to my friends on the show. I've had a lot
Mhm.
of individuals that I just met for the first time for the show, and we've gained a rapport with each other. But to have somebody who you've been in the trenches with is always a positive,
For
always a
sure.
positive. So
For sure. For sure.
first of all, for you, what's next?
What's next is waiting on a deal, waiting to see if I can pick something up around December, January ish. Maybe it'll still pop up in November. So we're still kind of waiting to see. Been with the same agent for 10 years, so I've we know each other.
Yeah,
So something I believe something will pop up, and I'll just stay ready and try to keep in shape and stay ready for that. That's as far as basketball, and then as far as everything off the court, just trying to maintain everything that I have going on with my business outside of basketball with real estate. So just maintaining that, and those are the things that I'm kind of focusing on, man. Just and staying healthy. You got to stay
that's it.
healthy. So keeping my hobbies active, reading, learning something new.
Yeah.
So I will continue along that path, and we'll see where things go around December, January ish, and then from there I'll adjust if I need to, and hopefully I'll be somewhere playing. So that's the next thing that I'm really hoping for. So,
There you go. All right. So, this is a question I like to ask everybody on the show. And this is
mm-hmm.
something that's important to me. Manifestation is at the top of the list for me. And not
For
only
sure.
is it good for me to do and be that, someone who can manifest things and
Mm-hmm.
put it into action. I also like to hear people say some of the craziest stuff ever. So, let me ask you this: what would be the perfect scenario for you, Evan Yates, personally, professionally, or both? You choose.
Let's do both. Let's see, professionally, go somewhere to win a championship. I'm manifesting that for sure, 100%. Go to a team, we're gonna win a championship, bring another one home, be a great feeling. So that's basketball. Personally, I want to scale my portfolio um, to a nice, comfortable level. I want to have, uh, let's say about 20 units. I think I'll be set at 20 units. That's what I want to manifest, 20 units just in Cincinnati. And I'm manifesting a place in Madrid. I'm going to manifest a place in Chicago as well. So those are two cities that I love. So those are my manifestations as far as personal. And then, of course, always manifest good health and family love. Those are two things I think that are really important. So
Yeah.
those are the things I'm manifesting for
There
sure.
you go. So my man E said he wants to get on junior on the junior Bridgman level. You know what I mean? Real estate mogul Evan Yates. That's what he's trying to get to. That's what I heard. I mean, that that's that's
Sure.
that's what I heard.
For sure.
But listen, E, this was a good. Hey, man, this was a good one, man. I
Always a
enjoyed this,
pleasure.
man. I enjoyed it. First before I wrap
Absolutely.
up everything, man. Shouts out to your
Mhm.
parents. Send my best to
Yes, for
to to
sure.
your to your
For
parents,
sure.
man. We had a really great time with them when they
Yes, absolutely.
came to see you over here in Denmark while you were playing here.
Mhm.
Yeah, so much
For
love
sure.
to your
Well,
folks,
I'll let them
man.
know.
Definitely. Yeah, when they watch this.
Same to yours as well.
Yeah, so when they watch this, we thinking about you guys, all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So E, if you want to, man, share your share your socials where people can check in with you. If you don't want to, that's also cool
Yeah,
too.
IG, Twitter, Yates513, same on both. One day I'm gonna get on this TikTok. One day. I don't know when, but one day I'm gonna get on TikTok.
I'm there, E, but I'm so scared to
Facebook, Evan
post.
Yates, and look, they say TikTok is super addicting, so I'm like,
Yeah, dude. That's why I don't want I
I
don't
don't
want
want
any parts, bro. It's different.
to.
I do. Yeah, we do have one here for the podcast. So if people are interested in seeing us
Yeah,
do, take care of TikTok, let us know. Maybe we can figure some stuff out.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, those are the socials, man. And you just kind of just go from there, I guess. I'm gonna start posting some more about some real estate things, so I'll start posting some of my projects I got going on, and just kind of go from there.
There you go. So listen, to all of my overseas players, my young guys, Evan Yates just kind of laid it out for you and let you know that even though you're in the midst of your career and you're focused and you're locked in, you can also lock in other areas because that's going to be the thing that lasts the longest. All right. So go follow him. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we just wrapped up another one. You know how we give it up every time we end the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, it costs nothing to be good to someone. Be good to someone today. I'm your host, Rob Fields. He's Evan Yates. And we just finished another one. We'll catch you on the next one.
There we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate y'all, man, for sure. For sure. It's been a good experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Peace.
Cool.